Hey, my awesome and fabulous blue stars. Welcome back to your Not So Daily, exposing your classmates and minds. During physics class, the teacher immediately notices someone's missing. She asks where Sophie is, and half the room starts accusing her of skipping class with a friend. Because when does Sophie not skip class, if I'm being honest? The teacher didn't play around. She went straight to emailing the senior teachers to check up on it. We got told later that she was caught skipping class. Meanwhile, at my table, Jennifer and Chloe were busy causing their own chaos. They were teasing this dude named Matthew, telling him to go stand in the corner of the classroom for no reason, and he actually listened. So, of course, they kept laughing and messing with him. Eventually, my physics teacher told Matthew to sit back down, but instead of returning to his seat like a normal human being, he walked over to the girls' desk, snatched their water bottle, and sprinted to my side of the table. And then, because he apparently wanted to make the situation worse, he decided it would be a fabulous idea to squirt the half-empty bottle at them. The water hit their books as intended, but it also splashed onto my book. Jennifer yelled,
"You got Blue Bean's book, bro."
I just stared down at the wet page with the deadest straight face imaginable. Matthew rushed over, took off his jumper sleeve, and started wiping the water from my book. The girl still thought he was just being weird and said, "What is he doing now?" And Matthew, still wiping, replied,
"Are you blind? I'm cleaning her book."
To be fair, he actually did dry it pretty well. When he finished, he apologized to me, then turned to Jennifer and Chloe saying,
"You're not safe. Watch after class."
Let me tell you some more school incidents. This is about a girl. Let's call her Lana. For your information, Lana and Moon hate each other's guts because Lana would sometimes bother Moon when he's sitting alone for no reason. One lesson, Lana says,
"Oh my God, what is up with your hair? It's so ugly. Like your bag. Ha ha ha. You should have done a slick back."
Then her and her friends were laughing at Moon. The boys sitting near Moon were like, "You can't take that, bro. You gotta get her back." So Moon responded,
"If I got a slick back, I'd look like you. I wouldn't want that because your forehead is so long it goes back to the dinosaurs."
Yeah, it'd be going back to the Ice Age.
Then Lana began crying and said,
"That's so mean. Don't you know I'm incredibly sensitive?"
Before Moon could say anything, Lana's friends were comforting her. Despite knowing she started it, then they all threw shade on Moon, calling him mean and other things.
Hey guys, call me Jalebi. I have a lot of boy best friends, like 90% of my friends are boys. One of them, for this story, we'll call Caleb. Anyway, it was computer class, and somehow we ended up in a very heated argument about whether the word Braille has a silent E or not. I said it does. Caleb said it doesn't. Then he hit me with this unforgettable line.
"What's the point of the E if you're not gonna say it?"
I responded very logically, by the way, so it can be a whole word. Like, are you going to spell T as just T because you can't hear the E-ah? No. Caleb insisted it was different and continued protesting like his life depended on it. Eventually, our teacher, Mrs. Alvarez, stepped in, confirmed that I was right, and ended the debate. I was thrilled. Caleb absolutely was not. Then came lunch. Everyone had left the room, including the teacher. I went to my bag, grabbed my lunchbox, and minding my own business, when suddenly, Caleb pulls out his fork like it's a weapon from a medieval RPG and starts chasing me around the classroom. Over a word. I was screaming. He was screaming. And this boy was genuinely trying to poke me with a lunchroom fork because he lost a vocabulary argument. I was sprinting between desks. Thankfully, Mrs. Alvarez returned just in time, saw it all, and had to physically restrain him while he yelled. Meanwhile, I was in a corner of the room, panting like I had just escaped a life-or-death situation. Caleb stayed furious at me for the rest of the day. He didn't get over it until 2 days later. Now, he's still in my class, and while he's gotten slightly better since then, he's still sensitive, still has anger issues, and he constantly argues with my other boy best friend. Let's call him Ryan, because both of them want to be the leader in every group project.
Hey guys, it's your local brown-haired girly here. Anyways, it all started when we were outside, just playing games and doing our usual random nonsense. Everything was completely normal until a few minutes before we had to go back inside. That's when something very unexpected went down. I was talking with my Pookie, just chilling, when we noticed something strange happening over at the climbing area, so of course we walked over to see what was happening and oh my gosh. Mako was literally lying across Rex's back like Rex was some kind of living playground bench, while another kid nearby was hyping the whole thing by screaming Boombaya at the top of his lungs. Me and Pookie absolutely lost our minds. We were laughing so hard we couldn't even breathe. It was pure comedy. A short while later, the whistle blew, so we all had to go inside, but honestly, that memory lives in my head rent-free and is not leaving anytime soon.
Hello everyone, call me Matcha, and today I'll be exposing 3 of my classmates. We'll call them Lydia, Mariel, and Bruno. So, this all happened during math class. My teacher and I stepped out for a moment. My teacher needed to use the restroom, and I went to refill my water bottle. When I returned, I walked into total chaos. Lydia was messing around with Bruno, teasing him while Mariel watched. Then, Lydia called Bruno a monkey and a pig. That was the moment everything went downhill. Bruno suddenly shoved his desk forward, grabbed a pair of scissors, and started chasing Lydia around the room while crying real, actual tears. Another student, let's call him Parker, tried to stop Bruno, but Bruno wasn't calming down. After running after Lydia, he suddenly switched targets and went for Mariel, and guess what? While swinging the scissors, Bruno actually nicked Mariel's skin. Right then, the teacher walked back in. Mariel immediately told him the whole story. The situation was so serious that both Mariel and Bruno were sent to the principal's office. Let me tell you another story. It all started with one chicken nugget. Bruno noticed someone took his lunch out of the fridge, so he confronted the nearest person, Lydia. Lydia immediately denied it, but Bruno wasn't having it. He slammed his lunchbox onto the table and yelled,
"Someone is lying."
Mariel tried to calm him down, but Lydia, being Lydia, flicked a single chicken nugget at him just to lighten the mood. Bruno snapped. He grabbed a carton of chocolate milk and launched it across the cafeteria like a grenade. It missed Lydia, hit the wall, and burst open right above a table of 7th graders. They retaliated by throwing their fries, and suddenly, the entire cafeteria turned into a battlefield of flying food. Teachers came running in shouting, slipping on pudding cups and mashed potatoes. The principal actually had to pull the fire alarm just to stop the madness. Later, during the announcements, he said with the most exhausted voice ever, "There will be no more chicken nuggets served for the rest of the month." The school still blames Bruno and Lydia for that one.
Hey guys, I'm Millie. Today, I'll be exposing a classmate and a teacher, so sit back and enjoy. There's this new kid in my Ayla class, let's call him Xanderando. My gosh, the drama that went down on his very first day was absolutely wild. My bestie, Esme, told me that Xander had been saying some crazy things about another girl in our class, Riley. He kept making those dropping the soap jokes and saying that Riley would pick it up and he'd put his no-no square in. I'm not finishing that sentence. When Esme told me, I was honestly shocked. Like, sir, this is not how you introduce yourself at a new school. Fast forward to Wednesday, and a whole group, Stella, my ex-best friend, Harper, Marin, and Riley, decided they were going to confront Xander about everything he'd been saying. And let me tell you, they roasted him. All Xander said back was something like,
"You're all bark and no bite, so stop talking." And I never said anything like that.
But the roasting did not stop. They kept going until Xander got so mad he literally walked out. But that's not all. Because now I need to expose my low-key pick-me elective teacher, Ms. Emerson. She originally wasn't even on my schedule, but once it changed and I stepped into her class for the first time, I instantly knew I was not going to survive that room. If you don't know what an elective is at my school, it's basically a mini break. Sometimes we go outside, sometimes we color, sometimes we do whatever activity the teacher chooses. But here's the problem. Ms. Emerson always favors the boys, like, to a shocking degree. She gives them candy for doing the tiniest things, and it drives me absolutely insane. One day, she was passing out candy because apparently we did well with the substitute. And tell me why she skipped my entire table, completely forgot about us. But the boys, oh, they got extra. I was fuming. Anyway, thank you guys so much for listening to me rant. Bye.
Hey friends, I'm Moonlight, and today I'll talk about how I got bullied in every single school I went to. In my first school, I was getting picked on by a black-haired girl named Raven, whose hair was taller than I'll ever be. She bullied me for being blonde, short, quiet, not defending myself, and for not having enough friends, even though I was friends with like 2 to 3 whole classes. I got so sick of the bullying that I told my mom, "Mama, please take me out of school, please." And she did. I was happy for 2 days, thinking I'd never have to go to school again, until another school, another bullying story. I got bullied by some classmates, but In 4th grade, 2 male twins joined our class. Their names were Leo, the short one with the bowl cut, and Liam, the tall one. They bullied me a lot. One time, Leo even cornered me. I told the principal, who was really nice about it. One day we were going to the park, and I asked my mom to get me rice and chicken from a restaurant. I was eating happily when Liam, the tall twin who also bullied me, suddenly asked me for a piece of chicken. I didn't know what to do because my mom, his twin, and some of my friends were right there. So I got startled and said, "Okay, fine, just because you stopped bullying me." But that was a lie because he actually bullied me every day. I transferred to a 3rd school in 5th grade because we moved to another village. My classmates there, I call them my milk classmates, bullied me a bit too. But whatever. Now I'm in 7th grade in a new school. I kind of like it because I have a new best friend. I don't really get bullied anymore, but her cousin and his friends are so annoying. And that's the end of my story. Bye-bye.
Hi, I'm Coco, and I'm here to expose my pick-me classmate. Let me introduce you to Sienna. She came to our class in 7th grade, so she was new and didn't know much about our school rules and stuff. When she first arrived, she wasn't as annoying, so my friend Luca and I befriended her. Now we're in 9th grade, and she is sulfur monoxide flipping annoying. She screams for no reason at all, invades everyone's personal space, especially the boys, and acts like every boy in school has a crush on her. She also copies my test answers even when I don't want her to, because she doesn't know I'm bad at math, and she's lazy as heck. For example, one time we had to run as fast as we could, and girl just started walking like she wasn't dressed to impress. She also calls me by my dead name for no reason. I'm trans math, and she's racist on top of that. One time, she was screaming as always, and Luca, and I politely told her to be quiet. She said she was singing and just ignored us. I couldn't take it anymore, so I had a meltdown in the school bathroom. When I came back, I just threw a carrot from my lunch at her. I forgot to mention, earlier this year, our school gave everyone new lockers because the old ones were literally older than our teachers. Anyway, they let us pick lockers in a first come, first serve line. I got there early, picked a nice quiet locker next to Luca, and started putting my stuff in. Everything was peaceful. Then she arrived. Sienna marched down the hallway like she was the main character of a show nobody wanted to watch. She looked at my locker and went, "Coco, move. I want that one." I said, "Girl, no, I got here first." She huffed like I had committed a crime. Then she said, "Well, I need to be in the center of the hallway so people can see me. Ma'am, it's a locker, not a stage." I closed my locker and walked away because I ain't arguing before 9 a.m. But apparently that wasn't enough for her. Later during break, I came back and found her trying to forcefully open my locker by guessing my combination. I was like, "What are you doing?" And she went, "Oh, sorry, I thought it was my locker." She said this while the number 3, my literal lucky number that I always use, was written in bold on the locker. Sure, Sienna, sure. She then tried to claim that the lockers on her side of the hallway should be reserved for the popular students. Mind you, the popular students weren't even there. I told her, back up before I call the teacher, and she started fake crying so loudly. Finally, our teacher came over and told her the lockers are first come, first serve, and she needs to pick another one. She stomped away dramatically and chose a locker 3 spots down. 5 minutes later, I heard her complaining that the air near that locker is bad for her hair. I wish I was kidding, but that's all.
Hey guys, just call me Ace. Basically, I had just moved from elementary school to middle school. Here, middle school starts in 7th grade, so I was 13 years old by the way. I had always gone to an all-inclusive school where everyone learned together, autistic students, students with ADHD, and anyone else who needed support. Because of that, people there were so much kinder and more understanding than most. Since I was moving to another all-inclusive school, I assumed people would continue to be kind. I was wrong, extremely wrong. The students there were so mean that it felt like cultural shock. On the very first day of school, when people did not even know each other's names, yet a group of boys, let's call them the Nike suit guys, started calling me an emo lesbian. The only thing even remotely emo about me is that I have dyed hair. I personally have no problem with lesbians or the LGBT+ community, but it was very clear that they did. They also called me Center. Here, Center is the name of a mall where all the alternative kids hang out, so bullies use it as an insult. That went on for a couple of days, but one time, they went way too far. For reference, Mira and I sit together, and in front of us sits the main bully. One day, right in the middle of class, he suddenly turned around and said, "Why are you looking at me?" We told him, "Are you stupid? We are looking at the teacher, shut up. We are trying to listen." He snapped back, "What did you just call me?" Mira said, "Dude, what do you want from us? We are just trying to listen." And she pointed at the board. Then he said, "Why are your hands so hairy?" She answered, "Why are yours?" He said, "Because I am a man, you are a girl. You shouldn't have body hair." I said, "Oh my god, you cannot be talking about looks when you look like a chewed up donkey, bro." He replied, "Shut up. You look like handsome Squidward." At some point, Mira told him that if he kept refusing to listen in class, he would end up working at a supermarket. And he said, "Just like your father, he works as a janitor, right?" For the record, her father is a lawyer. He started yelling it in the classroom so everyone could hear. Mira finally had enough and told him, "Shut the fudge up." By then, the school day was almost over, and the teacher told us we had a few more minutes and needed to wait outside the door. When everyone was crowded near the door, the bully pushed Mira. She pushed him back. This happened a couple of times really fast, so I could not even get to her in time to help. When we finally got out of school, we both started crying a bit from shock. No one had ever been that cruel to us before, and even now, they still call Mira a nerd and call me emo.
Hey Sigmas, it's ya girl Angel, and today I'm about to expose my classmate Dee. Buckle up, because this story is literally wild. So, for context, I've never really liked Dee, like ever. Okay fine, maybe back in 3rd grade she was tolerable, but after that, nope. She started getting weird vibes, like always trying way too hard to join our friend group when literally no one invited her. Like girl, read the room. Anyway, fast forward to this summer. I'm just chilling at the public beach, living my best life, chilling near one of those beach chairs. I don't know the name, but I was on the towel beside it, and then suddenly, I hear it, the dreaded words, Angel. My soul literally left my body, I froze. I turn around and there she is, Dee, the villain of my story. So obviously, I panic, I switch up my voice and I'm like, "Angel?" I'm not Angel, trying to play it off like I'm some random lookalike, but she's not buying it. She goes, "Yes you are." And before I can even process what's happening, this girl starts grabbing at my swim cap and literally pulling at my neck. Like, "Ma'am, this is a community pool." So, like a normal human being, I go tell my dad, and my dad walks up like, "Hey, you need to stop." Dee's like, "Okay," acting innocent. But the second my dad walks away, this girl turns to me with the craziest look. She does that creepy little eye thing like the "I'm watching you" gesture and mouths the word snitch. Like, girl, you just attacked me at the pool and now you're mad I told an adult? Be so for real. And that's not even the first time she's been weird. One time at school she literally accidentally spilled her juice all over my backpack, then goes, "Oops, my bad," while giggling. And another time she tried to sit with us at lunch and my friend group just went silent. She sat there for 2 minutes before awkwardly leaving, and honestly, I almost felt bad, but then I remembered she tried to choke me in chlorinated water, so yeah, no sympathy. Anyway, moral of the story, if your gut says someone's off, trust it. Don't second guess, because next thing you know, they'll be calling your name across the pool like a possessed dolphin.
Hello there, friends. I'm Sun Lily, a Muslim girl who attends a school where we are required to wear a white long-sleeve top and beige pants. Once upon a time, there was an English teacher. Let's call her Miss J. Miss J was the type of teacher who would shout at autistic children, which was deeply upsetting to witness, if I'm being completely honest. One day, I was just sitting down and eating my delicious lunch. Yummy. Until I heard that Miss J had run out of the school building because a boy had made her cry. Yes, cry. A few weeks later, we found out what happened. Miss J had written a math problem on the board, and a boy politely said, "Miss J, I think that's wrong." In response, she shouted, "What, you think it's wrong because I'm black?" The boy quickly replied, "No, absolutely not." But she was already so upset that she ran out of the classroom crying. That behavior was unfortunately typical of her. Miss J also harassed students, including my brother, who has OCD and ADHD. His conditions sometimes make him feel the need to repeat tasks or do things perfectly, such as cleaning himself multiple times. In our religion, women who have reached puberty are not allowed to touch men who have reached puberty unless they are close. Family members, grandparents, parents, siblings, first cousins, or the spouse of a family member. Miss J was fully aware of this, yet she deliberately targeted my brother. She was touching his shoulder, back, head, and more. Later that year, Miss J was thankfully fired for harassing students. Many students in grade 6 and above, including me, were affected by her actions. I'm glad she's gone. I'm pretty sure my entire year group was glad too. Anyways, see y'all next time.
My name's Angel Cat, or Angel for short. So I'm an online school student now because I dealt with some really bad harassment that affected me mentally. Thankfully, things are better now. But every once in a while, I have to go in person for one class. This story takes place on one of those days. It was supposed to be a normal day. I just had to take a math test in the hall. When I walked in, I noticed a few old classmates. The ones who used to harass me. 2 of them were blonde, but one stood out in particular. His hair was sticking out like he had just lost a fight with a hairdryer. We're gonna call him Brandon. As I'm sitting down, waiting for my Chromebook so I can log in to start the test, Brandon turns to his friend and actually asks, "Where's the best place to cheat?" Like, WH80? Bro had the nerve to ask that while 2 teachers were standing right there. One of the teachers walks right over and says, "Nowhere." She didn't even sound mad. She just said it like she'd seen too much to care anymore. I was sitting there trying so hard not to laugh. Like, imagine thinking you could cheat when 1. We're being watched by 2 teachers. 2. We can't use Google, nor phones. After that, everyone started logging in for the math test. I was sitting next to a guy I knew pretty well. He used to be in my social studies class before I switched to online school. We'll call him Ralph. Anyway, both of us were struggling to log in because the testing site was acting up. Then another kid, whose name started with an E, let's call him Evan, asks, "Hey, Ralph, did you log in yet?" Ralph goes, "Yeah," and Evan says, "Good boy." Everyone froze for a second. The same teacher who said nowhere earlier immediately turned to him and went, "Evan, that's not appropriate." I was dying inside. Now let's go to the during the test part. Once we actually started, I tried to focus even though math and I are not best friends. I hadn't studied much since moving to online school, but I gave it my best shot. Meanwhile, Brandon's crew were being loud. They were making whistling noises, and one of them even did a flirty whistle in the middle of a test. Like, bro, calm down. This is algebra, not a disco club. After the test, when I finished, I told the teacher I was done, and she said she'd text my social studies teacher to let them know I could leave. As I was heading back, guess who I ran into? Not Evan, not Brandon, not even Ralph. I ran into my friend Amicus. Yes, That's his nickname because he's obsessed with Among Us. He was doing a Harry Potter quiz on his computer and I told him everything that went down. He was like, "Of course Brandon did that." My class finally ended at 10:44 am, but it was testing week, so we only had 2 classes instead of 4 closing parenthesis. So I packed up and went home.
Hey, you can call me Coffee. So today, I'm spilling some tea about this not-so-skibidi classmate of mine. Let's call her Sarah. So basically, Sarah and I used to be friends. We talk, hang out, share snacks, laugh over the dumbest jokes, normal friend stuff. But after a while, we stopped talking. There was no big fight or drama, just kind of drifted apart. But then, about a month later, everything went downhill. Out of nowhere, Sarah started spreading rumors about me. Like actual nonsense that made people start giving me side eyes. Stuff like, Coffee said this about you, or Coffee's fake, don't trust them. I was just sitting there like, girl, what did I ever do to you? It got so bad that people I used to hang out with started avoiding me. I'd walk into class, and then everyone is quiet. You know that weird, awkward tension where everyone suddenly finds their notebooks so interesting. Then I heard that Sarah told the teacher that I was bullying her. Like, what? I couldn't believe it. She was the one talking behind my back and making fun of me. And somehow I'm the problem? Thankfully, I managed to tell my side of the story. I explained everything clearly, and the teacher actually listened. So I didn't get in trouble, but now Sarah absolutely despises me. Honestly, kind of funny. It didn't stop there, though. Sarah started mocking my glasses and even my autism, which was just mean. Whenever she'd do it, I'd just stare at her like, wow, someone's really that insecure, huh? And to top it all off, she tried stealing my friends. She'd go up to them like, Coffee's been bullying me, trying to make herself look like the victim. But thankfully, my real friends realized it before it was too late. At this point, I've learned not to let people like Sarah get under my skin. She can keep playing the victim card. I'll just keep sipping my coffee. Hey everyone, I'm Jade, and today I'm going to be exposing one of my former classmates. So back in 6th grade, I had a friend named Isaac. Isaac was an interesting one, mainly because he was incredibly inappropriate. He would constantly talk about dating me and a few other girls in our grade. And the thing is, he wasn't the only one like that at the time. I had actually known Isaac since 5th grade. We were in the same class back then, and he was my first real friend. Because of that, I just brushed off his behavior and treated it all as a joke. I didn't think much of it at the time. I guess I was just too young to realize how weird it actually was. Then, one day in 6th grade, someone in our class said they saw Isaac and another boy kissing in the bathroom. Of course, I was completely grossed out, not because of who he liked, but because we were only 11 to 12 years old and like, why would you do that at school? So I did what I thought was the most reasonable thing at the time. I blocked him and unfriended his brother on Minecraft. Later, I decided to give him another chance and started talking to him again, thinking maybe we could have a fresh start. But not even a full day later, he decided to touch someone inappropriately. There was a rumor that he literally gave someone back shootings. I was going to block him again, but I ended up forgetting. At this point, I was convinced Isaac was bisexual. Not that it mattered, but it just kind of made sense given the bathroom thing and then this incident involving a girl he wasn't even dating. Since I forgot to block him, I still got notifications from him. And one day, I got a message that made me want to disappear. He was going to the same summer camp I was attending. I'm not exaggerating when I say I had the craziest frown that day. Now, Isaac had no idea that I had blocked him before, so he acted like nothing ever happened. A few days later, I blocked him again. The funny part, he still had no clue. Honestly, I don't even think he knows to this day, and this wasn't that long ago. After the summer, my friend Selena, Kian, and I decided to expose him in a group chat. We also added another girl named Leah. When Leah realized what was happening, she dipped immediately. Keen didn't really want to get involved, so he just watched from the sidelines, but Selena and I were taking the mic. We kept exposing Isaac until he finally left the chat and blocked all of us. We haven't heard from him since, and honestly, it's only been a week, but that week has felt peaceful.
Hey, my awesome blue stars, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure to like the video and subscribe if you haven't already. Make sure to comment with blue hearts if you've reached this far, and also mention whose story was your favorite. Peace out, my awesome blue stars. Bye.